Hello everyone, and welcome to the Scary Story Channel. Tonight, we're venturing deep into the shadowed heart of the Blackwood Forest, a place whispered about in hushed tones, a place said to be the domain of the forest witch. For centuries, travelers have avoided its tangled paths, and locals speak of a presence that watches from between the ancient trees. They say that if you listen closely on a moonless night, you can hear her soft, unsettling lullaby carried on the wind. The legend begins with a woman named Ilara, a village healer who lived on the edge of the woods centuries ago. She was renowned for her knowledge of herbs and her ability to mend ailments that baffled the town's physician. Her remedies were drawn from the forest itself, a place she understood better than anyone. She respected its secrets, its power, and in return, the forest seemed to provide for her. The people of the village both admired and feared her. They sought her help in desperation but whispered behind her back, calling her a witch for her uncanny connection to the wild. One year, a terrible sickness swept through the village. It began with a fever, then a cough that stole the breath, and it spared no one, young or old. The physician's methods failed, and panic began to curdle into blame. Desperate eyes turned to Ilara. She worked tirelessly, brewing potent concoctions from rare mosses and roots she gathered in the deepest parts of Blackwood. For a time, it seemed she was holding the plague at bay. Many who came to her on the brink of death recovered, their gratitude mixed with an even deeper awe of her power. But the sickness was relentless. As the death toll rose, fear twisted the villagers' gratitude into suspicion. Why was she immune? How did she know what others did not? Whispers turned to accusations. They said she had consorted with dark spirits in the forest, that she had conjured the plague herself to gain power over them. Her knowledge, once a gift, was now seen as a curse. The very people she had saved turned against her, their faces contorted with fear and hatred. One fateful night, a mob, their torches painting flickering, monstrous shadows on the trees, stormed her small cottage. They dragged her from her home, ignoring her pleas and the cries of those she had healed. They accused her of witchcraft, of bringing death to their doorsteps. They didn't want a trial. They wanted a sacrifice. They drove her deep into the Blackwood Forest, the place she had always considered her sanctuary. They left her there, alone in the darkness, believing the forest beasts would deliver their judgment. But the forest did not harm her. Instead, it sheltered her. The legend says that as she wept, her heart broken by the betrayal, the ancient trees wept with her, their leaves rustling in a mournful symphony. Her grief and a deep, burning rage seeped into the soil, into the roots and the very air of Blackwood. She did not die. She became one with the forest, her spirit entwining with its ancient primal magic. She became the Forest Witch. From that day on, the forest changed. It grew darker, more menacing. The paths that were once familiar became a twisting, confusing labyrinth. Animals grew strangely silent and watchful. Those who dared to enter Blackwood often didn't return. The villagers said the witch would lead them astray with phantom lights and whispering voices that sounded like lost loved ones, luring them deeper into the woods until they were hopelessly lost, their panicked cries swallowed by the suffocating silence. One of the most famous tales is that of three brothers, lumberjacks who scoffed at the legend. Believing the stories were just old wives' tales to keep children from wandering off, they entered Blackwood to fell some of its primeval oaks. The first day went by without incident, though they felt an unnerving stillness in the air. On the second day, the youngest brother Liam swore he heard a woman humming a soft, sad tune just beyond the tree line. His older brothers laughed it off, telling him the wind was playing tricks on his ears. But as dusk fell, Liam went to gather more firewood and didn't come back. His brothers called his name, their voices echoing unnaturally in the dense woods. The only reply was the rustling of leaves that sounded almost like mocking laughter. They searched for hours, their bravado melting into cold fear. The forest seemed to shift around them, familiar landmarks disappearing. They found only one of Liam's boots, sitting neatly on a moss-covered stone, as if placed there deliberately. Panicked, The remaining two brothers tried to flee, but the path they had followed in was gone. They ran in circles, thorns and branches, tearing at their clothes and skin. The feeling of being watched, pressing in on them from all sides. One brother claimed to see a fleeting shape in the shadows, a tall, slender figure with eyes that glowed with a faint green light. The next morning, only one brother stumbled out of the forest. His hair turned stark white, his mind shattered. He could only babble incoherently about whispers in the dark and a lullaby that promised an endless sleep. Liam and the other brother were never seen again. Over the years, many have tried to test the legend. A group of college students, armed with GPS and modern gear, went in to film a documentary, hoping to debunk the myth. Their live stream started normally. They joked about the spooky atmosphere, pointing their cameras at gnarled trees that looked like grasping claws. Then their equipment started to fail. The GPS went haywire, their compasses spun uselessly, and their batteries drained in minutes despite being fully charged. The last piece of footage recovered from their abandoned camera is chilling. It shows one of the students, his face pale with terror, whispering to the camera. "We're lost," he says, his voice trembling. "It's been hours. The trees, they move. I swear they move when you're not looking. And the humming. Can you hear it?" The audio picks up a faint, melodic humming, a sound that is both beautiful and deeply disturbing. The camera then falls to the ground, and the last thing you see is a pair of bare feet stepping into the frame before the screen goes black. None of them ever came out of Blackwood. The locals say the witch is not purely evil. They say she is a guardian of the forest, a spirit of vengeance born from betrayal. She despises those who enter her domain with greed or disrespect in their hearts, those who seek to exploit the woods as the villagers exploited her kindness. But they also say that if you enter with a pure heart, with respect for nature, and perhaps leave a small offering of wildflowers or a piece of bread at the forest's edge, she might let you pass unharmed. She might even guide you if you are truly lost. There's a story of a little girl who wandered into the forest chasing a butterfly. Her parents were frantic. The whole village searched, but as night fell, all hope seemed lost. Just as they were about to give up, the little girl walked out of the woods, completely unharmed, holding a single, perfectly white rose that didn't grow anywhere in the region. She said a kind, sad lady in a green dress had found her crying and sang her a song. The lady had shown her the way back, telling her the forest was no place for little ones after dark. So, is the forest witch a vengeful phantom or a misunderstood guardian? Perhaps she is both, a tragic figure forever bound to the place that was both her sanctuary and her tomb. Her legend serves as a stark warning that nature holds ancient powers we don't understand, and that the wounds of betrayal can fester into something dark and timeless. The next time you find yourself near an old dark forest, listen carefully. If you hear a soft, mournful lullaby drifting on the breeze, don't try to find its source. Just turn around and walk away, for you may be standing at the edge of the witch's domain, and she is always watching, always waiting. Thanks for listening to our story tonight here on the Scary Story channel. If you enjoyed this journey into the legend of the Forest Witch, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the shadows. Stay safe, and whatever you do, stay out of Blackwood Forest.